This is Ben, and for today's React hacks, I'm going to show you how I created these clocks that are moving on my screen. I've added this to my portfolio, which is built using Gatsby, and Gatsby uses React. So there are a couple of components here that I'm using to make this happen. I have this parent component, this container, which is holding each one of these individual clock components. And to those clocks, I've passed the name of a city, which is how I'm going to get the current time of day. So let's take a look at how this happens. First thing I'm going to show you is my index.js, which is the home page. This is where I have imported the container component. That container component is essentially just one big div which contains all of these clock components. And to each one of those clocks, I've passed down the name of a city. So inside of the clock component, I can access that city via props. The clock component is a couple of divs which make up the outline of the clock and its face, and then a few child divs which make the clock's hands. And to each one of those hands, I've passed a little bit of inline styling, providing them values that come from this object, which I've called CSS. And that CSS object is going to use a CSS property called transform, which is going to rotate the hands based off of the current time of day. Now, to get the current time of day, the first thing I did was create a few instances of state, one for seconds, one for minutes, and one for hour. And then I created functions called getSeconds, getMinutes, getHour. All three of them do the same thing. They're going to use this setInterval function so that every second I'm going to get the current time of day, and then from that current time I'll grab either the seconds, the minutes, or the hours and set state using those values. There's one thing that's a little bit different with getHour, and that is I wanted to account for the time differences, and I did that using this switch statement before setting states. And the last thing I want to show you is this useEffect hook, and that is what's going to give me the initial values for state when this component first mounts or when it first loads onto the screen. So that takes you through today's activity. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you tomorrow.